Hi everyone, my name is Urvin, and today I'm making this video to demonstrate my task 9.2D, in which I have used the embedded SQL. In this video, I'll cover all these topics in my video. The first question is the what web server package and technologies I have used for designing my form, PHP form. So I have utilized the XAMPP as the local web development environment in which, because it includes Apache web server and the MySQL database server, and I have used the PHP scripting to access my PHP form and insert the data. So what? The working is like Apache acted as the web server to host and execute the PHP file, and the form was constructed using HTML, also an easy to use interface is also provided by centering all the uh, contents in a web page. And I employed PHP as the scripting language to handle the form submission and verify input. And thus the input is then inserted into the database. I have used a database named as Swiggy in my MySQL, and yeah, the backend data was contained in the MySQL database. It has the following attributes such as user ID, name, email, phone number. So let's move on to the working key, how you can insert a record in a PHP form. So first of all, I'll be showing you my PHP script. Here is the whole PHP script, and I have explained the script in my task submission. You can also review that. And let me show you how this form PHP form looks. This is how it looks. It has a title. It has different fields in which we will be entering values. We will be basically testing the whole with the different types of values, different types of action in this video. So this is gonna be like little long because I'll be testing all the cases I have written over here in my task. These are the 14 test cases which will I perform to check any flaw if any found. Yeah, so before entering any data in the PHP form, I want to show you the my database that it is empty. Over here you can see everything that this table doesn't have any records yet. So let's perform the first test case. If user ID is empty, if user ID is empty, so let's check. We will left the user ID empty and we'll enter any name such as I'll be entering my name, and I'll be entering my user any email like Urvin at the rate email.com. Okay, and then we'll be entering any phone number, random phone number. I'll be entering of 10 digits. So let's try to insert. Yeah, here you can see a prompt error message is shown which tells us to insert this field. So you can see this test case has been failed because the user ID cannot be empty. Okay, so let's test the second case in which we'll try to enter the alphabets in the user ID and see if the test case fails or pass. So let's check over here. Yeah, like if I try to enter hit any alphabet, I am unable to enter it because I have set the constraints to only input numbers. I have set the data type like to in which I'll be entering allowed to enter only numbers. So you can see this test case has also been failed. And let's move to the third case. If user ID is entered with proper numbers and is valid form and is in valid form. So let's enter any user ID like 12345, and then we'll enter any name like any name. and then we'll enter any email. Yeah, and any phone number will, like, suppose this phone number is taken, and we'll try to insert. As you can see now, the new user has been inserted. You can refresh the database, and also you can see that a row record is added over here. Just see with user ID this with and name this, user email this. So one more test case I will showing you that if I use the same user ID but with different name, user email and phone number, will it work? Will the test case pass or fail? So let's check. Like, I enter the same user ID and I'll use a different name, and then I'll use any email, and then I'll be using any number. So let's try to insert it. Okay, so we get an error that duplicate entry for 1 2 3 4 5 for primary key, because we get this error because our user ID is a primary key, and we know that primary key is unique for each record, so we cannot use the same primary key, we cannot use the same user ID to insert different records. Okay, so let's test the fourth case. If name is left empty, so let's check. We hit any user ID, and we'll left the name empty, and use any email, like any email, and then any phone number of 10 digits, and we'll try to hit insert. Yeah, you can see over here that it denies us to left the name field empty. We cannot left this as empty. We have to fill this column also. So let's try to fill it with the, like, any name, and then we'll insert. Now you can see this that the user is inserted only when the name is filled with proper alphabets. So here our four test cases also filled, and the name cannot be left empty. So let's move to the fifth one. If numbers are used in the name, suppose we use numbers in our name, like we get any user ID, and then we'll use any name with like phone numbers, like this numbers. So like, and now I'll be having any email, then any phone number I'll be entering. So let's try to insert. Yeah, here you can see that name cannot be entered with any numbers existing in it. Uh, so like, this test case has also been failed. Yeah, the numbers cannot be used in a name. So let's move on to the sixth one. If numbers and yeah, this and this are all are the same test cases. In this, I'll be using only numbers, and in this case, I have used numbers plus alphabets. So the both test cases are failed. So okay, so let's move on to the seventh. If only alphabets are used in the name, only we have also tested this one also, like entering valid alphabets in a name. So this case was passed, and we have successfully inserted a record in it. So the eighth test case, if proper email is entered, yeah, if the proper email is entered along, assuming that other values are also entered properly, the test case pass. So this one also passes the test case test, and move on to the ninth one. If email doesn't have a at the rate in it, as we know, an email always have a at the rate in it to be an email. So let's test this. Suppose we hit any user ID with any name, suppose, and any email, like any email, and then we'll enter any 10-digit phone number, and we'll not include the at the rate in it in the email. Now we'll try to insert. Yeah, so now you can see over here, we need to add an at the rate in the email address, because email address cannot be left empty without an at the rate. So we'll be entering an at the rate, and we'll try to insert over here. Now you can see a new user has been inserted successfully. We can also see over here by refreshing. Yeah, over here. You can see we have entered this record, and with a proper at the rate, and hence the record is received over here. And now let's test the 10th case. If email is left empty, if the email is left empty, let's see what will happen over here. Like suppose any user ID, any name, any email, and then any phone number, but we'll left the email empty. And now we'll try to insert. Yeah, you can see this field cannot be empty, so this test case also fails. And now we'll test the 11th one. If the phone number is entered with alphabets. So let's see if we can enter alphabets in the phone number. So yeah, we'll enter any email, and like with four alphabets, we'll use the alphabets. So let's hit insert. Yeah. So you can see it it tells us to match the requested format, and we cannot fill this without proper 10-digit numerical numbers. And yeah, so the 12th case is if less than 10 digits are entered. If less than 10 digits, suppose I enter only 3 and try to insert. Yeah, so you can see I'll get this error, this prompt to enter to match the requested format of the phone numbers. Okay, so the 13th, if the phone number is left empty, if the phone number is left empty, suppose I erase this and try to insert. I cannot insert. It again shows to please fill out this field. So this test case also fails. And if 10 digit number is filled with proper, like proper 10 digits are filled. So yeah, so I have filled the 10 digits and then tried to hit insert. Okay, so we get this error because um, a user can only register with one email per time. So we get this as duplicate entry for the user email. So yeah, so we'll enter any user ID, any name, like we'll enter now a different email, any example, for example, like any email, and then we'll enter 10-digit number or phone number. Yeah. So let's insert it. Yeah, now the user has been inserted, and we can see over here by refreshing. Yeah. So this was all the test cases I have performed. So thank you for watching my video, and I hope you like it.